What's up, guys? It's your boy Cody from Off the Schneid. Just putting together a little quick intro here. Just wanted to first and foremost give a huge shout out and a big thank you to all my subscribers. 357 of you guys. Might not sound like much to a lot of people and a lot of creators that have thousands of subscribers. They make a living doing this and all that kind of thing. That's obviously not where I'm at yet. Obviously, hopefully that is the goal at some point. We'll get there eventually. Just wanted to shout out everybody that watches my videos and comments, likes, all that kind of stuff. Truly from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank every single one of you. 22,500 views on this channel. Again, might not sound like much, but that's extremely humbling to me, that people take the time out of their day to listen to me yak about football and, find value in my channel. So I just want to appreciate all of you guys. Again, just a quick intro on what this episode is. It's a breakdown, kind of a culmination of the whole summer. The draft, team needs, breaking down every team, doing the record predictions, all that kind of stuff, and put it all together. And I'm going to go over my division winners, playoff predictions, and then all the way up through the bracket to the Super Bowl winners. And then coupled with that, there's a bet that I make every year where I parlay all 8 division winners that I predict, all my predictions for the division winners. I parlay them all together, make a large bet, and get a fairly large payout. Hopefully, we'll win that this year. Came pretty close my first year doing it. This is only my 3rd year making this bet. Came pretty close, got 7 of 8 correct, ended up cashing it out for a very nice profit. Last year took a loss, but cashed it out for not a complete loss. And hopefully this year will be the year that it all comes together and all 8 teams that I predict to win do win their divisions. So without further ado, let's kick it to the episode and let's see the predictions. All right, so obviously you can see it there. We've got the division winners. You got the bracket up here, all the division winners, the seeding 1 through 7 on each each conference, AFC and NFC. Got the bet over here. Putting my money where my mouth is, obviously, with all my division winners and their odds. The bet, obviously $500 with the payout there, 200 grand. It's a huge bet. Like I said, first year I did it, I ended up cashing out for 11,300, something like that. Had offers up over 27,000 at one point. Didn't take it because it was very close. It was very, very fringe. In 2019, if the Minnesota Vikings had beaten the Seattle Seahawks in the game that they played week whatever it was, I genuinely think that would have been that might have done it, or it might have been a very large payout that I wouldn't have been able to say no to, type of a thing. Maybe I should have cashed it out, and I ended up hitting cash out after, I think it was there's 2 or 3 games on the Thursday night in week 17. So I got, a lot of legs out of it, and it was still alive, week 17, obviously, which was fun. It was very, very fun. I had, as far as I heard from people, the guys, the boys at TSN, Sportsnet, the guys at Sportsnet were talking about, or maybe I don't remember who it was, we're talking about my bet around the water cooler type of thing. So that was kind of cool to hear. So hopefully this is the year that it kind of all comes together and I can actually cash this thing for a big win. So again, let's blow through it here. Number 1 seed in the AFC, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. I just think that they are the most complete team. They're technically, I guess, the 2nd best team in the world right now. And with what they did on the offensive line, I think that that's just going to, push them over the edge. I don't think that the weapons are fine. They could use, a number 2 wide receiver. And I think that they definitely should in next year's draft look to grab a guy in, 2nd round, 1st round, even something like that. That defense could still use some pieces as well. But, realistically, I think they play very well team defense, and Spags has them, gives teams a bunch of different looks. I like what they do on defense, and they use the pieces that they have very well. Plus adding Jaron Reed, Nick Bolton, they got pieces, and they only got better. And like I said, that offensive line is going to keep Patrick Mahomes upright and give him tons of time back there, which is a dangerous thought, obviously. So I've got the Kansas City Chiefs as the number 1 seed in the AFC. As far as the AFC North, I'm a Bengals fan. I wish I could sit here and say my Bengals are going to win it, but they're not. It's just not going to happen. Not yet, not this year. But I do like the Browns. I think they're a more complete team than the Ravens. I'm concerned about Greg Roman as an offensive play caller. They obviously lost J.K. Dobbins for the season. Rashad Bateman is out. Their defensive line is getting quite old. They're still very good, but they're getting older there. Sean Wade was a guy that they just ended up releasing. He is now on the Patriots, which I will obviously get to. I just think that the Browns have a more complete team, and I really believe in what Kevin Stefanski has done already and what he can do. So, I'm looking at Myles Garrett as a potential defensive player of the year. I think they got a lot of pieces, and I think that they can win that division. They were very close last year, so I think they get over that hump and they take the AFC North this year. Plus, their odds are fairly good. Second, best odds. The Ravens are obviously the favorites to win the division, so you can't just take favorites everywhere. Obviously, you got to find some value as well, which again I will get to in a second. So the Chiefs 1.33, I believe it is, and then 2.5 for the Browns, which that number has gone down. I wish I like to make this bet at a time when I know everything. I have all my knowns there. So that's why I wait till, basically now. I think I made it yesterday or the day before. So there you go. Number 3, I got this is the big shocker. Obviously, this is going to be a big shocker for everyone, including, everyone that watched all my videos that saw me pick the Bills, as far as my record predictions. And I do want to pick the Bills, but there's a few things there. Number 1, there's a few wide receivers on that team, a lot of weapons that their status, their vaccination status is not very clear, or they didn't get it, whatever it is. And that could present some issues later down the road at some point. Hopefully it doesn't, I don't know, but the potential is there, which is concerning. And then it's more to do, there's that small piece with the Bills, but it's more to do, well, I guess there's another small piece for the Bills. There's a potential for a Josh Allen regression a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's going to happen, and I don't particularly believe that it does, but there is that small potential of that happening. So those two small things to do with the Bills are there. Also, the odds are not very good. I think it was 1.61 to 1 on your money in this parlay for the Bills to win. So they're by far head and shoulders the favorites to win the division. So I'm taking a look at the Patriots. I mean, if you watch all my episodes, or if you watch the Patriots episode, you'll see a lot. I said I had a lot of good things to say about that team in general. With the way that the preseason went for the Patriots, and specifically for Mac Jones, I think that he absolutely won that job. He went out there and did what he had to do, and he won that job. He was the better quarterback than Cam Newton in the preseason. He just was. And, there have nothing but good things to say about him. And it was only a matter of time regardless. So what's the point? I now looking at it, I was over here saying that Cam Newton was going to be the week 1 starter. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm not surprised, and I like the decision. So obviously I like it enough that I think that they can go out and win this division. But the biggest thing about why I picked the Patriots, their schedule is just super, super, super soft, especially at the beginning of the season. And with the way that I think they're going to run this offense and try to win games, like I said in the episode that I made, I think they're going to run the ball, 30 to 40 times a game, unless they're completely out of it. And if they're completely out of it and they got to throw the ball, I like Mac Jones throwing the ball more than Cam Newton. I like their ability to come back in games with Mac Jones over Cam Newton. That's just where I'm at with it, especially with what I saw in the preseason. So week 1 against Miami, I have them winning that game, especially at home. Week 2 on the road against the Jets, they're getting that win. 3 at home against the Saints, they're getting that win. Week 4 against Tampa Bay at home in Foxborough, they're going to want to beat Tom Brady, absolutely. I'm not saying they do, and I don't particularly think they do, but That's the most difficult game they have. Then, week 5, Houston Texans, they get that win. Week 6 against Dallas Cowboys at home, with the way that they can run their offense, and their defense is so good, they can absolutely get that win, especially at home. Then the Jets again, then the Chargers, Panthers, that's really, really, really soft, in my opinion, for this team, for this defense, and for the way they're going to run their offense. So I really like that. And the biggest reason why is I'm going to get offered a fairly nice cash out number. See the cash out there, $500 right now. That's obviously the bet that I made. It will go up if my teams are winning. So, the way I'm looking at it is kind of worst case scenario. I get a nice offer that I can take if I don't feel comfortable. If the Patriots are on a roll and they're just winning every game, which is possible for them to win a lot of ball games, their schedule doesn't get particularly tough until, or tough at all really, with Tampa Bay game is at home, the Cowboys game is at home. The Panthers game on the road, that could be a tough one, but I still like the Patriots even on the road. Browns, that's at home. Tennessee Titans at home, right? Like all of these games are in Foxborough. So I like their chances to at least pick off a few of those. And as long as they do what they should, there you go. So that's my rationale behind the Patriots. Number 4 seed, the Tennessee Titans. I just think that they get the job done over the Colts. I think there's too many question marks around the Colts. I don't love their defense as much as a lot of other people do. I think there's absolutely some holes that can be exploited. They do play well together as a team defense, but I do have them making the playoffs, but I think that the Titans get that division win again. So what I'm taking here is 2 repeat division winners, the Chiefs and the Titans, 2 new division winners in the Browns and the Patriots. It's very rare that, it goes the same every year. It's just back-to-back winners, and, unless you are the Patriots throughout history, which, lends to why I'm picking them to win again. Their coaching staff is ridiculous. Matt Patricia comes back. Either way, so we got 2 repeats and 2 new division winners. Wildcard teams are going to be the Bills, Ravens, and Colts. As far as, other teams that could get in, I definitely think that the Chargers and the Broncos could push, as well as obviously the Dolphins could make a push, maybe the Steelers, something like that. But realistically, I just think that these are the best teams, except for maybe the Colts. I think maybe the Colts could fall out. And then one of those other teams sneak in, maybe the Dolphins, something like that. But that's what I got the AFC looking like. Chiefs obviously move on. Lowest seed plays the Chiefs, which will be the Bills. I have them beating the Titans in probably a high-scoring game, I would imagine. I just like Josh Allen in a shootout there. Then Patriots get the job done against the Ravens. They just run the ball, control the clock, get the win. Colts lose to the Browns. I think the Browns beat any of the teams that I had listed in there, so they get through. Chiefs break the Bills' hearts again, and they get that win. Browns beat the Patriots in a similar style. They're going to play a similar style, but I think the Browns just have more talent all around this year. I think the Patriots are going to be a team to watch out for, absolutely, but I think this year the Browns are going to be just a little bit too much to handle. And then the Chiefs get the win there. They go back to the Super Bowl for a 3rd straight year. Move over to the NFC. So, you might call me, it might be the easy way out, taking the Bucs and the Chiefs as the 2 best teams. But what do you want from me? Like, what else could happen? I mean, maybe if the Rams are the absolute truth, they get the number 1 seed, but we'll see. Or the Packers. The Rams or the Packers are really the only teams that are going to challenge the Bucs for that number 1 seed. So they're the number 1 seed is what I have it right there, obviously right now. I really like the Rams. I really like the Rams' potential this year. And even with losing Cam Akers, I think bringing in Sony Michel was a phenomenal get. Him and Darrell Henderson can absolutely just be the 2-headed backfield type of thing that they need there. with Matt Stafford. Obviously, their weapons at wide receiver are going to be just fine. So I do like the Rams to, push for that number 1 seed. Ultimately, yeah, I have them number 2. Packers get the win in that division. I was, all throughout the summer, I wanted to pick the Vikings. They were getting better odds. And they just had some injuries creep up, some uncertainty on the offensive line. Some guys are potentially out of the league, that sort of a thing. So I just couldn't pick the Vikings to win that division. So Packers get it done again. And then the NFC East was a tough one as well. I was all over the Washington football team. Sorry, I was on the Cowboys, switched to the football team, back and forth basically with those two teams. I had the Giants in there a little bit at first, but ultimately I just cannot trust Daniel Jones with my money. So it's either Washington or Dallas. And I'm just going to stick to my original guns here and go with the Dallas Cowboys. I think they've done some work on the defensive side of the ball, new defensive coordinator, and then Dak coming back. Hopefully he's completely healthy. And I just got to stick to my guns and take the Dallas Cowboys. 20 years plus, I think, right around 20 years anyways. Almost 20 years. I think it's 18 years. There's never been a repeat champion in the NFC East since the Eagles in 03-04, something like that. I don't particularly subscribe to that narrative, but when there's that much of a sample size, I cannot ignore it. And if the football team realistically, if some injuries occur to the football team on defense, or if William Jackson and Kyle or Kendall, I can never remember who's who, to be honest, on the Broncos and football team off the top of my head. I'm not looking at the rosters, but if one of those guys go down or they're just not as good as they need them to be, this defense could, not be as good as you think. Matt Adonis is getting older. Tim Settle's good, but after that front four, it's not that incredibly scary, to be honest with you. It's very, 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 very stout, and that front four is phenomenal. But the depth there isn't crazy. It's not incredible. So I do have the football team making the playoffs, but I have the Cowboys getting the win in the division. I think their offense is just going to be too strong. And as long as the defense doesn't break, it can bend, but don't break, and they'll get the division there. Seahawks, Niners, and Washington football team as the wild card teams. I have 3 teams from the NFC West making the playoffs. I think that is the best division. I think it's the hardest division to, kind of project. And, the Cardinals are absolutely a very, very good ball team as well. So they could get right in there. And the Panthers, I like the Panthers a lot. I really, really do. I think their defense is super underrated. I think their offense is gonna be super underrated. And then the Vikings were kind of in there as well, and the Giants. The NFC has more teams that are capable of going to the playoffs. So this could not look the way it does, but I just had to go with, I basically had to stick to my guns. The Niners have a very easy schedule as well to start the season. Seahawks are just always there. They have the highest floor in a lot of situations, especially in their division. And then the football team, again, they won the division last year. They're a better team all around. I think they can squeak in there. So there you go. Buccaneers move on. Obviously, I got the 49ers getting the job done against the Packers. I'm going to be, when it comes playoff time, I'm going to question this team's motives and their motivation. I am, especially Aaron Rodgers, who is already going to be looking towards next season. Say what you want, and I know he's a gamer, but I just feel like he's going to be looking towards next season. So I think the Niners can go in there and get that win. We'll see. Either way, even if the Niners aren't the number 6 seed, let's say it's Seattle, I think Seattle can do the same thing. I think potentially the football team could do the same thing. So, I don't, maybe the Packers get one win and they go back to, the semis, but I just don't think they get there, all the way there kind of a thing. So I have them losing. I got the Rams beating the football team, or pretty much anybody who's the number 7 seed. And then the Seahawks beat the Cowboys again in a bit of a shootout game. And I got Russell Wilson getting the better of that team there. So Moving on, I've got the Bucs beating the Niners, the Rams beating the Seahawks in a division, rival type of thing. And then I have the upset Rams, taking out the Super Bowl champs, the defending champs. And I have a Super Bowl of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Rams. And then obviously you can see I have the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. I basically called the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl months and months ago. You can see it in my Chiefs episode. You can see it in most of my AFC West episodes. Realistically, I've had the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl since they traded for Orlando Brown. I just think that was all they really needed. And they added Joe Thuney. That was before the Orlando Brown trade. So realistically, it was once they got Brown, I just saw it being as, it's theirs to lose more or less. So there you go. They go back to the Super Bowl and they get the win. So there you go. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people that don't agree with me. Obviously, I've put my money where my mouth is. So I'm not over here just talking mess. I'm standing behind what I'm saying and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So if you disagree with me, it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. Leave a nasty comment. It happens all the time. I really don't care. It's not my first rodeo over here. So do what you want to do. But that's what I'm projecting. That's what I'm picking and that's what I'm betting. So leave a like and subscribe. Hopefully, if it's your first time at the channel, send it to a friend. Help me build this thing out. I'd really like to eventually, make some money and never know, do this for a living type of thing. But obviously that's probably something someone will use against me in the comments there. So it'll be funny to see. But either way, appreciate the watch. Like I said, like and subscribe. The motto, listen, the off the schneid motto, my motto has and always will be, if you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right.